How do you properly love somebody? Now, loving somebody has become very hard unless it's your mom or father. And even then, a lot of times those types of relationships don't work out nowadays. Um, I think the strongest thing with love and loving an individual, whether that's your significant other, your parents, your daughter, your son, is to care for yourself, right? The flowers are nice dates, expensive dates, that stuff goes appreciated, right, in most relationships. But I think the biggest thing is if you build yourself and you start to thrive as a human being, um, and not per se for that other individual, but for yourself, and it benefits your significant other, or you know I'm specifically going to be talking about relationships in this instance, and you're able to have a better relationship with them just by caring for yourself. A lot of people, um, you ask somebody, what would you do for your family, or what would you do for your significant other, whatever, and they'll say, I would die for them, right? Um, but a lot of people won't live for their family, and when I mean live, I mean getting in shape, losing weight, making more money, spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself, taking care of yourself, eating healthier, studying, doing something that you need to do, getting stuff done, um, and yeah, living for your person, you know, um, or aspiring to be more. A lot of people, when they get into a relationship, they like they get very afraid, and I've done this multiple times in probably two relationships that I've been in, and that is you you get to a point, you get into the relationship and you want to stay exactly how you were when you first got into that relationship, because you are scared of the perceived change, or the of what your partner will perceive the change as, and them not liking it. So you try to stay exactly where you were, um, so you don't have to worry about them turning around and leaving you. And that shouldn't be how it is. Um, hey, dogs are fighting. Um, yeah. So that being said, loving yourself is probably the strongest and most potent thing you can do for another individual, in order to benefit both you and their life. And it comes with a lot of compromise, loving somebody, and it's hard because in the day and age that we live in, we like to live with a shield covering our insecurities, covering our hardships that we've had in life, covering the blunt. All right, well, the dogs just lost their shit, so I had to go put them inside. So it comes with a lot of compromise, and we like to have this shield in front of ourselves, generally speaking, to protect us from the pain that we have experienced in our past. And it doesn't allow us to grow as individuals and to form another relationship with another individual. And both parties do this. They both do it, right? And when that happens, you just wind up getting a friction, and it splits apart. Eventually, that friction grinds at your relationship until it completely falls apart. So that's why you need to drop the ego. You need to drop the the insecurities, and you just need to put everything on the table. Both of you need to have a conversation and say, hey, ego is the thing that is killing relationships. Do you want to sit here? Would you be comfortable with putting everything on the table? You know, and I feel like that's one of the best things that you can do when you're getting into a relationship, or you've been in a relationship for a little bit but it hasn't gone on too long, like couple month mark, of just being able to feel vulnerable with one another. And that is very hard to do because everybody has these wounds, these perceived traumas, and if you have so much of that, maybe it isn't your time to be in a relationship. And once you develop and mature and realize your issues and work on your issues, then the right person will probably click. And I'm not saying guaranteed, but most likely you're going to attract people that are more like you, that are more developed and more mature and more ready for a relationship and more pushed past their perceived trauma and insecurities that they've had with past relationships, whether that was their, uh, you know, with their parents or previous relationship or just life in general. Um, so working on yourself, developing yourself as a person is one of the biggest things that I know is something to show your partner that you love them, that you care, because you care about yourself enough to you have more in yourself. Your bucket's full. And if you just keep giving and giving and giving, your bucket's going to be empty. You're not going to have anything to go off of at the end of the day, and you're just going to sit and you're going to fall further and further down a hole that it will be difficult to get out of. But if you fill yourself up first, you have a full bucket and you're able to give and give and give, and you still got a bucket that's pretty full. And at the end of the day, you're both going to be doing good, right? And then ego, dropping your ego and telling yourself, hey, I'm going to put everything on the table here, and I'm going to let my insecurities go. I'm going to put my emotions on the table, and I'm going to see what happens. And you might get fucked up. There's a big possibility that you might get fucked up in this day and age, right? A lot of people aren't ready for relationships, and it's hard to gauge whether or not that person is ready for relationships because they have that ego. They're not going to tell you that they have this, and this issue with themselves that they're not ready to work through, that they haven't worked through. So you're just going to have to put it all on the table and communicate with them and be like, hey, I'm putting it all on the table. I would wish for you to do the same. You don't owe it to me. I'm not telling you you have to, but I feel like it would make things go smoother. And yeah, I just wanted to talk on the kind of loving somebody. I am younger, so I might be spewing nonsense. So if anybody that's more mature or has lived longer than me, if anybody sees this, just in the comment section, whatever, kind of telling me what I'm doing wrong, just kind of got out of a low relationship. I've had two people that I've really adored and loved and cared for. The first one, I had no clue what I was doing. I was really young, and it didn't work out because we both didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't know how to care for one another. We didn't know how to care for ourselves even at that point. And then with this second one, just recently, it's just hard. We work in the same environment, and it just sucks when somebody that you care about, somebody that you've, slept with, somebody that you've held hands with, somebody that you've cried with, somebody that you've talked with and conversated with for hours on end. Somebody that you've sat silent with, that you've just sat and looked at the stars together, or just relaxed together and just enjoyed each other's presence. And that just really sucks when you have to have somebody that you really care about and love just look at you like you've never talked, like you've never had any of those experiences together. Um, it kind of feels like a bad dream almost, like you just woke up from a bad dream or woke up from a dream that, and then you see this individual and you're like, I know there's something here, but there's no way to bring it up. There's no way to prove it. There's probably some range of words that would put something together, but I just don't know it yet. Maybe it's silence that needs to be had. Maybe it's just me needing to retract, you know? Well, I just went on a little bit of a side tangent that I didn't need to go on. But yeah, that's kind of a little backstory on why I wanted to go in on loving somebody. And if there's anything that I'm missing, please um, feel free to give me your constructive criticism on the topic. And yeah,